Hello everyone! Our topic for today is all about the camping plans. I am Catherine A. Santos and I'm with the group 5. My members are Soriano, Josefina, and Ulep. Here are the camping plan tips. First, planning a camping. Second, where to camp. And third, gather your gear. Before we start, let me give you a famous quote from someone. Camp, explore, dream, discover. So let us define the camping plan. Camping plan is planning a camping trip begins with the desire to get outdoors. Tips for camping. Number 1. Decide whether you will be camping in a tent, cabin, or in RV. Second, consider the distance the campground is from your home. Third, pay attention to what activities are available in the area beyond the campground. And fourth, read campsite reviews. Fifth, start planning early. Sixth, pay attention to campground amenities. 7. Plan meals before you leave for your trip. And last, pack appropriately. Let us discuss about the tips for camping that I have read a while ago. Number 1. Decide whether you will be camping in a tent, a cabin, or an RV. When we plan a camping trip, the very first thing we look for is cabin availability well in advance. If you're planning on staying in a tent or an RV, be sure to spend time finding the site to match your family needs. Number 2. Consider the distance the campground is from your home. Planning a camping trip is a little different than planning another family vacation. It's unlikely that you will be able to fly to your location because of the equipment you need to pack. Number 3. Pay attention to what activities are available in the area beyond the campground. Depending on how long you're planning on camping, you may not need to leave the campground. However, if you're planning a week-long vacation, you are most likely going to venture out. And number 4, read campsite review. With a variety of location and types of campground, reading reviews is a great way to find a camping location that meets your family's needs.
Another tips for camping. Start planning early. Better plan early if you need a popular campground areas. Pay attention to campground amenities, where you are in relation to bathroom, hiking trails, playground with splash pads, bounce pads, incredible pools, convenience stores, beautiful and clean bathrooms, and wash houses. They are all things we consider when choosing a campsite. And then, plan meals before you leave for a trip. Planning your meals in advance will allow you to do the prep work before you leave the house for vacation and make vacation so much relaxing. This is especially helpful if you are staying in a tent or a very basic cabin where you do not have a sink or refrigerator. And the last, pack appropriately. Pack the basic needs like tons of baby wipes, bug spray, sunscreen, plastic tablecloth for your picnic table, roasting sticks, candles, lantern, extra flashlight, garbage box, and some card games.
Here are some tips that will help you plan your camping, and it is important to consider the right and proper place to camp. Let's talk about where to camp. First, the place should be well drained. Second, the place should be sheltered. Third, the surface should be relatively flat and even. And fourth, the last one, the place should be breezy. The place should be well drained because it's not a great feeling waking up in a puddle. Second, the place should be sheltered. Camping under pictures is okay, but make sure that there are no dead branches overhead. Third, the surface should be relatively flat and even. And fourth, the last one, the place should be breezy because waking up in a breezy place makes you really feel the camping vibe, and you don't want to camp in a hot and talk about places to avoid while planning your camping. We have 7 places to avoid. The first one, depression and gullies. Avoid depression and gullies where likely to be waterlogged or flooded during heavy rains. Second, avoid gorges. Pay attention to any possible changes in weather patterns. The third one, avoid camping on exposed ridges or hilltops, especially in areas subject to frequent storms. Fourth one, lone trees. Avoid camping under lone trees that may attract lightning strikes. Next is fragile vegetation. Always look for places where your impact can be minimized. The sixth is next to water sources. Avoid camping in this area because next water sources can often mean more bugs, condensation, and the possibility of unwelcome nocturnal visitors. Lastly, avoid valley floors. Another way to minimize condensation is to avoid camping on valley floors where katabatic air will sit off a more.
Gather your gear. While you might decide to bring along a few extra things, there are some items that are absolutely essential. Number 1, tent. Number 2, sleeping bags. 3, supplies. And number 4, first aid kit. Tent. The most important thing is the tent and places to sleep. Number 2, sleeping bags. Also necessary things to bring in order to have something to sleep on. Number 3, supplies. Food and water are essentials for obvious reason. You might also want a camp stove, some rain gear for everyone, a knife, and a lantern or flashlight. And last but not the least, first aid kit. You'll be miles away from your town, and you never know when someone will get a cut. Bee sting or some other injury that needs a quick fix.
Here are some reminders. One thing you'll quickly learn is that there are annoying campers. Don't be one of them and learn what not to do on a camping trips. This includes many common sense things like respect your neighbors, keep the camp clean, and understand that wildlife will be around. When you're ready to leave and head home, be sure that your site looks how it did when you arrived. The common phrase is, leave no trace. And that means you should take your trash with you, dose your fire properly, and pack up all your gear. When you get home, unpack everything and let it dry, and air out before storing it permanently. Thank you for watching. Hope you've learned something.